Hello, I'm Michael Pilarski, and I'm with the Global Earth Repair Foundation, and I'm here today to introduce you to the Global Drylands Library. This is a library that I've been accumulating for some time, but I'm just going public with it. And so we have put our Drylands Library on a platform called Library Thing. So anybody in the world can go to Library Thing and look at the titles and information about the books in the library. And so it doesn't have the contents of the books. It'll have a cover shot and the editor and all the basic information about the book. But one of the things that's special about the library is that I've worked really hard at accumulating a lot of really useful books for sustainable management and restoration of drylands around the world. And so this is a way for people to sort of search the literature and get an idea of what's out there, and maybe find some books that would be especially pertinent to them. So, at any rate, we're just getting going on the cataloging, but we have 206 or 200 books in the database so far in that library thing. And in the physical form, there are the bottom three shelves here of this bookcase. And above it is the agroforestry library, and on the other sides are agriculture and fruits and nuts. And I have a very large library on agriculture, horticulture, etc. So, but I'm really excited about drylands because I spent a lot of my life in semi-arid eastern Washington, in as areas as low as down to about 9 inches. I think is maybe the driest place I've lived. 8, 9, 10, 12, 15 inches is typical. So I have a fondness in my heart for the drylands of the world, and a lot of them are taking a lot of beating, and there's a lot of restoration work to do. So this library is about how can we restore and how can we have sustainable production and abundant food. And the deserts are desertifying, and we need to fix them up, folks. And so it's a worldwide movement, of course. So there's the books that are in the library, but I'm busy accumulating new books all the time. So I just wanted to show you a few that I've just recently accumulated. The Global Deserts Outlook, which gives sort of a global view on the current desert situation. And this is a book on when the Sahara was green. So this is like the history of the Sahara over thousands of years, and how it comes and goes with, there's been green times there, and what's happened in the Sahara, how are things now? One of the most inspiring books I've read lately. I just read this the other day, cover to cover, in one day. Tony Rinaldo, The Forest Maker. And Tony is the inventor of farmer-managed natural regeneration, which is has become really big in the Sahel of the just south of the Sahara, particularly in the country of Niger and in surrounding countries. So this technique involves, this is a place in the landscape where almost every tree had been cut down, maybe 100 years, a long time ago, but they keep sprouting. And he noticed that that there were trees, a forest, but there was all below sand and a little bit of bushy tops that keep getting cut off for firewood or nipped by goats. And so they just, and he figured out if you could let them grow, all of a sudden you'd get this forest cover really quickly. And so this is spread over the Sahel and regreened a really big area involving like millions of small-scale farmers out there. So this is an inspiring book. I'll write more about it on my Global Earth Repair Foundation website. Here's a book on trees of southern Africa. Great book. Lots of information. He really goes into all the uses for the trees there. And, of course, many of them are dryland trees, and many extend further into Africa. Small-Scale Water Supply, a Preview of Technologies by Brian Skinner. So this is interesting. It's like some books will tell you a lot about 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 technologies. This is a review of multiple technologies across water supply. small scale. And here's the Sonoran Desert food plants. I collect a lot of books on the food plants. Here's water resources strategies to increase food production in the semi-arid tropics, with a special emphasis on alluvial groundwater. So there's a resource for alluvial groundwater. Tree-based production systems for Africa's drylands. Interesting study I'm getting into now is halophytes for food security in drylands. Halophytes are salt-tolerant plants, and there's a lot of salinized land in the world out there. I think something like, was it? And here's halophytes as a resource for livestock and rehabilitation of degraded lands. So here's how to use halophytes in those good ways. And recently, I started consulting a little bit for a project in Iraq, a small sustainable agroforestry permaculture type biodiversity farm in Iraq. And so I've been doing a lot of research in the Middle East as a result. Here's Global Biodiversity, Volume 1. This is a very recent book, and the goal is to go around the world. And this gives snapshots of various countries in Asia. And here they have Iraq, Iran, Lebanon, and Afghanistan. So I read all those country reports to get an idea on the current situation. Fascinating. I'll have to talk about Afghanistan sometime. We better skip a few of these things here. Ecology and utilization of desert shrub rangelands in Iraq. So here's the shrub situation in Iraq and how to help that. There's a few ideas. Here's cotton, climate, and camels in early Islamic Iran. So this is what was the trade in plants that was passing through Iran or generated in Iran that was on the silk trade. So it gives a snapshot of the plant things happening in early Islamic Iran. Here's a fascinating book, Figs, Dates, Laurel, and Myrrh, Plants of the Bible and the Quran. So this is interesting because it gives information on all the plants that are mentioned in the Bible and the Quran both. Of course, they're both mentioned in a lot of plants are mentioned in both of them. So useful information for the Middle East. And then here's useful plants of drugs of Iran and Iraq. So here's just a book just on useful plants and drugs of Iran and Iraq. So I'm collecting books on Iran, Iraq especially. But here's Natural Remedies of Arabia. Really good book. Again, it gives a lot of people's information in here, folklore as well as contemporary use folklore, as well as visiting markets, etc. So this gives a nice picture of natural remedies of Arabia at this point in history, and it gives where it's evolved. So there's a lot of plant information in here for North Africa and the Middle East in general. So that's an idea of some of the plants of some of the books I've been accumulating on drylands. So I'd like to continue this, folks, and I plan to, and maybe I could put in a budget pitch here. I sent donated a shipment of a small library of a really good collection of books for the Habiba Community and Ecosystem Restoration Camp in the Sinai. So this is in the Sinai on the coast, and it's a very dry land situation. And I sent them a whole bunch of, a nice little collection of books that I've accumulated especially for them, and send it to them via Germany courier. I'm in the process of putting together a collection of books for Somalia, for a project in Somalia, and I would like to be able to contribute books to other such great projects in the world. So I can't do that unless I have some extra financial help. So if people want to go to the Global Earth Repair Foundation website, there's a way to contribute there, and you can make a note that it's for the library if you'd like. That would be fine, or for the donation program. We'll see about setting something up there. So do visit the Global Drylands Library, and you can find it by going to the Global Earth Repair Foundation.org website. And there you'll be able to hook into the library bibliography. And if anybody wants to help me on this project, of course, it's a big project trying to assemble the affordable books in the English language on Drylands. So if anybody's interested in helping, you can send me an email. Go through the Global Earth Repair Foundation website. And signing off for now. We'll give you another report sometime in the future. Bye-bye.